Good morning. Welcome to the weekend. Lee Judge's TV is back. I'm your host, Dan Potts, and I'm with a very tired Lee Judges. Lee, how are you, mate?
Oh, I'm struggling, mate. I've got to say, I'll tell you what I feel like. I feel like a teenager gone out again, do you know what I mean? After last night, got home after loads of beers, eating McDonald's at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, mate.
I'm back to my youth, and then I've been up all night. I thought I was on a ship sailing.
Oh,
up and down, round and round. I've been on roundabouts and everything like in my bed today. Anyway, I'm back. I'm back, and I'm feeling a little bit better. I mean, like that.
Back and raring to go, mate. It's
see. Oh, that's better.
It's the best feeling, isn't it? I don't understand. Do you know what I think it is? I think it's sleep, mate. Because I bet you were feeling great about 1 a.m. It's just you've gone to sleep now. You feel like crap. What's it all about? I don't understand.
I know, that's
sleep is overrated, mate.
I'll tell you what. They was playing all the songs last night. The cheesy songs that make you dance and things like that. And I was at it. I was up there doing it all, and no problems. And I could have gone on for another couple of hours. I can tell you, you know what I mean. But as soon as I got home, I thought, do you know when you get? I don't know what it is when you're drinking, but there's a stage of the night when you get starving hungry. And this is where the kebabs people come in and make a fortune, I reckon, like back in the day, you know what I mean? Because you're not really hungry, but your brain's telling you you're hungry. And then you eat it, and you sit there and go, what did I eat that for? You do, don't you, like that? And then you go to bed on a full stomach and wake up feeling like crap. You know what I mean? Like,
It is one of those things. You walk past the kebab house, you don't need one, but you just do it, don't you? Or McDonald's or whatever it be. You just go and get one.
And I'll tell you what is not. I'll tell you what's not fair about this. You're sort of punished for having a good night. What is all that? I'm being punished now for having a good night out for the first time in a long, long while out with the lads. You know what I mean? I'm being punished.
It's a good way to look at it, mate. It isn't fair, is it? But that's what they say. Life's a bitch, or whatever the saying is. We've got a lot of people in the chat already. They're all looking forward to tonight. Yes, lads, it's coming home. Yes, lads, we've come a long way since Emil Heskey. Someone's telling you you're being very naughty. Love football, hate KC. Naughty Lee, very naughty. And I like this, Rich Harris. Judges, you're the one. You still turn me on. Football's coming home again. I like that very much.
You got a few beers as well last night, then I can tell, So listen, they was playing that song last night. Atomic Kitten, is that right? Who sung it?
I think it was. Yeah. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, there's certainly no kittens no more, are they? They're more like
no. Don't know how old they are now.
Bag pussies now, I reckon. Anyway, that's another story, But everybody's singing it, from teenagers to old ladies are singing that song, you know what I mean? And all singing the Gareth Southgate bit. I'm not so sure that he turns me on, Gareth Southgate. I'm going to be honest, you know what I mean?
Well, he will if we win tonight, mate. I tell you that. He will if we win tonight.
Yeah. So, it's everybody's buzzing for it, aren't they? We're all buzzing for it.
Oh, absolutely. Just before we do go on, I just got to say happy birthday to Daniel Shaw from last week, regular viewer. Great to see you with us again, Daniel. Happy birthday for last week, mate. Wouldn't mind a week late birthday present by winning tonight. Absolutely. Lee, let's talk a little bit about that. We're going to go into a couple of other bits that we've got looking forward to this weekend, but of course we've got to start with England. I woke up very nervous today, and I know you woke up feeling a little bit worse for wear, but I woke up very nervous because this could be a day or a night of history. And I took a step back and I thought, they've already overachieved, in my opinion. I didn't expect us to get to the final. I don't know about you. I didn't think we'd get to the final. So have we already overachieved, or is it going to be complete disappointment if the result doesn't go our way tonight? It's going to be mixed emotions, Lee, isn't it?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't think it's we've overachieved because we've not played no one in to get here, really. You know what I mean? We've
Germany, that was all right. Germany.
Oh yeah, Germany. Yeah, probably one of the worst German teams I've seen in my lifetime.
True.
You know what I mean? I'll be honest, you know what I mean? Like, not the Germany that I grew up and watched. You know what I mean? Like, but ultimately, yeah, it was a difficult game. We come through that really well. That's probably been our toughest game. But if you're going to take on a German team, an aging German team with a manager that's just lost heart in it and everything, like, you know what I mean? I think that was the one. But but that ain't our fault that we've had an easy draw all the way through. You know, you can look at that with tennis players sometimes. You know, if someone knocks out the top seed, you can get deep into a competition because, you know, like Djokovic he was meant to play Djokovic in the second round, but he's got knocked out. Whatever. You know, you have to be given what's given to you in sport, and when you get given it, you have to take it. And to the credit of the England team, they have, you know. And the one thing I've liked about England is that whether they were 1-0 up, 1-0 down, they've not changed things. And I like that about Gareth Southgate. Whether you agree with the system or not, and, you know, probably a lot of people don't and whatever, he believes in it, and he's gone for it, and he will continue to do that. And what that tells you is a man that believes in his players and believes in what he's doing. And that's, you know, that's something that I haven't seen from a manager at Arsenal for a few years. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at a club or a team, shall I say, that's being coached and being run properly. And I'm not used to that. I'm not used to that.
No, fair play. And I must admit, I'm totally with you in the respect of you can only beat what's in front of you. It is so true. And I think we mentioned on there a few times with Arsenal, Lee, that we've got to FA Cup finals before by beating Sutton and Lincoln and Wigan and Hull.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you've got to beat the teams that you get drawn against, and that's not anyone's fault. What I will say, I've not seen a team together as much as this since Euro 96. Euro 96 was the one where I actually felt like we were together. And I think a lot of that to do with that is the home crowd, because obviously we've had a few games at Wembley, and you do feel like you're at home and everyone's screaming it's coming home does help. But actually I can see that we've got this team together at the right time, because there's quite a few so-called leaders out there for their clubs that have taken that across to their country. And what I mean by that is Grealish is a leader at Villa, Kane's a leader at Spurs, Rice is a leader at West Ham, Phillips is a leader at Leeds, Maguire's a leader at Man United. I look at these situations now and think, wow, we've got a few players there that have taken that next level. And some of them are on the bench still. Jordan Henderson, captain of Liverpool, on the bench, comes on. So I look at this team now and think maybe they have got together at the right time, and maybe the World Cup 3 years ago was just a tournament too short for us to now get that next step. Now, we've got the World Cup next summer, believe it or not, as well. So I think it's a good time to be supporting England. I think the right side and squad of players is our time now. We've still got some that we left at home, remember, that are going to be gutted that they didn't make this squad, like the James Maddisons and the Greenwoods of this world. So we've still got them to rely on as well. And I just look at this England side now, Lee, and see something a little bit different and some more togetherness. Am I right in saying that, or would you disagree?
I agree with that, and I think that's a great point you've made about captains. I think that, you know, you could go on going down at the squad. I think, like, you know, I think Connor Cody is a captain of Wolves, isn't he? And Tyrone Mings is a leader on the pitch for Villa, and as you said quite rightly, Jordan Henderson. And if you look at that and look at, you can compare that with Arsenal or whatever, like, you know what I mean. Wherever you go in the England team, even as young as it is, and I think the Italians made the point, it's not a young side. You know, they've got some good young players, but there is some experience there and leaders. And all of a sudden, you've got leaders all over the park and in the squad. And look how better the team is for it. You know, you look at Arsenal, we're struggling to find a decent captain. But you look at that England team now, and you could pick 7, 8 players that could actually be the captain, you know what I mean? Like, for Harry Kane, for instance, is captain not for his leadership qualities, more for the way he plays and everything like that. You know what I mean? Leads by example, if more than say a Connor Cody or a Jordan Henderson. But what you've got is Harry Kane doing it from that part, and then it's Jordan Henderson doing it on another scale, Maguire doing it on another part, and all of a sudden, you've got a defenders that can lead, midfielders that can lead, and a striker that can lead. So all around, it bodes well, not just for this tournament, for the World Cup as well, because don't forget the World Cup is only a year away instead of being 2 years away. So all these players will still be in their prime in a year and a half's time. So we've got a really good chance of not only winning this one, but doing really well in the World Cup as well. And as you just quite rightly said, there's still a few more young players to still get in with a chance of playing and being part of it. And what an incentive for the likes of Madison, Greenwood. You can even put Smith Rowe in that as well. And I'm pretty sure there's some young defenders coming through. But also for people like Reece James, who's actually in the squad at the moment, like to really push on and do, Wan-Bissaka that's not there. There's lots of players that actually got left out that you would say, oh, they've got they should have been in the squad or whatever. So it bodes well for English football over the next couple of years. It really does.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Daniel Shaw's made a great point to say, wasn't the World Cup moved to winter? Yes, it was. So it's Qatar 2022 in the winter. That's going to be a weird season, Lee, it Premier League wise, but there we go. But yeah, England are going to be up for it tonight, I feel. If you can't get up for this game, then you shouldn't really be wearing an England shirt. But Lee, how important is it that we're at home, and how important is it that we've got the team that are in their first final since '66?
Well, I think that's the key, and I've said it's always been the key. And unbelievably, our best performance was away in Rome, but funny enough in Italy, but against a real poor side. So I don't really go into that light, you know what I mean? But what I will say is that if I'll be honest, if you compare the two managers, Mancini wins that hands down. Is a better Gareth Southgate tactically and whatever. So they win. So that I think there's nothing between the two teams. I think that it's 50-50 on the two teams, and then home advantage brings it back level as far as I'm concerned. So home advantage is a big thing. They've got the advantage of the better manager, and it just then comes down to who's going to perform on the day. And do you know what? I think the luck's with us as well. I think we've had the luck of the draw. We had the luck with the penalty. We had the luck with the penalty because let's face it, it was a poor penalty, but it spanned straight at him. I think that all the momentum and a little bit of luck was with England, and that's why I've always said I felt that I've always said from day one that England would get to the final. Wasn't so sure in the final, but I'm pretty sure. I've got a feeling that. I don't know why, whether it's overconfidence or that. Do you know when if it was probably Arsenal, I wouldn't be so confident because but I'm a little bit more relaxed when it comes to England, and I just feel England are going to win. I just can't see us not winning, and I really can't. I think that it's coming on, and I think that it won't be easy, but I do think England will win.
So the big question: you've been asked this question every single day since the Don Robbie shows. 90th minute Kane winner. Are you going to celebrate, Lee?
No, I don't know. Do you know what? I said this yesterday, and I admit that I do you know what? If England are losing with a minute to go or like seconds to go, and Harry Kane scores, you're gonna you have to celebrate because you're winning the game. Do you know what I mean? But listen, if England are 2-0 up and Harry Kane scores, then I'm not going to, because the game's done and dusted. Like I don't know what will be happening. It's going to be spontaneous, and that's how it is with me. Like I'll see how I feel at the time, but I just hope England win and Harry Kane don't score. That's how I feel like. Do you know what I mean? But if it will be, it will be. And we'll see, like, you know what I mean? So, and I'll tell you what I will do, and this is a guarantee. If they've got a penalty like last time, I'm walking off. Like, so no one will bloody know, like, you know what I mean? So, we shall, we shall. You would believe I was out last night, a load of Spurs fans out and all that, like, and, it's all banner, and they're going, you better celebrate tomorrow, like, and everything like that, and it was good fun, but we'll see. We'll see, like, you know what I mean? But I'll tell you what, if England are to win it today, he's going to have to play well. Like he's going to have to play like he did in the semi-final. I thought he was brilliant in the semi-final, I will say.
Well, I have to say, it was my next thing was that game. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions on it. I thought he was outstanding. I thought he was absolutely
You know what?
outstanding, and I don't like him. I don't like him either. Of course, I don't. But I thought
No.
he was outstanding against them. I really did. Harry
And
Kane.
the thing is, Dan, and I always say this about it, like there were things in we like because I was talking to a couple of Spurs guys and they was going, "Come, you must have been laughing when he falls over in the last seconds to buy a free kick and all that." Like, and you look at that skullduggery that he does, and when it's when it's for England, it's great. And it was great, you know what I mean? But I think his hold out play and everything about him on that game was different class, and I think that the team, and I do think, and that's why Saka probably plays and Sterling because of Harry Kane, because they're the two
Absolutely,
best
100%.
foil for him. For him, you know what I mean? Like, not probably the best foil for the England team and other players, you know what I mean? I think Jack Grealish probably loses out because of that. Because I think 5 years ago, Harry Kane didn't need those players around him. If you had a look, he run the channels, he run the lines and everything like that. But with age, just a few injuries and whatever, that he's had to change his game a little bit. And I'll tell you what, give him credit where credit's due. He's changed his game slightly, and it still hasn't affected his goal scoring. A little bit like Alan Shearer had to, as you get older and you get battle worn, like, And I think that bodes well for him going into his 30s as well, that he hasn't got to rely on running the channels, doing that. He can rely on getting the ball, holding it up and things like that. So, if you was looking to be buying him from Spurs, you're not actually thinking, oh, he's going to last 2 or 3 seasons. This guy could go on to 33, 34 because of the way he plays, if you get the proper players in and around him.
Yeah, I thought he was amazing, and I was watching it with my dad, and I said, "Oh, he's horrible, isn't he? He's horrible." When he was falling over and all that, I said, "He's horrible, and what a horrible player." I said, "But you know what? It's all right when he's playing for you, isn't it?" And that's how Spurs must feel week in, week out, because he is outstanding at what he does. He's definitely improved in this tournament. I thought he started very slow. He didn't look fit enough for me, but I have to give him credit because, he's favourite for the Golden Boot now. If he gets himself on the score sheet, it's going to be very close for that award. So I was a huge fan of Harry Kane the other night. The other player that I think deserves credit the whole tournament, and one that I've been a little bit frustrated with watching because I think he holds on to it for too long and just takes that extra tuck so much, is Raheem Sterling. I think he's been the player of the tournament, if I'm honest, Lee, not just for England, but I think for the whole tournament. I think when you look at what he's achieved, 75% of his goals, of England's goals, have been Raheem Sterling goals. And I thought, again, he was unplayable. Absolutely. I mean, listen, I didn't think it was a penalty, and I'll ask you that question, but I thought he was brilliant. What did you make of that?
Do you know what? I thought it was probably one of his most quieter games in the first half. I thought, like, it was disappointing. And I actually said, when Saka came off, why take him off and put Sterling over to the right? And because he's got this great understanding with Shaw, what was the point of doing that? But the more from that point on and going into extra time, he was unbelievable. Running at players, he just got better and better, stronger and stronger as the game went longer and longer, which is incredible. And I thought he was brilliant on. I don't think he was man of the match. I think that you had to look at that as probably Walker or Maguire, but he's up there, and he has been our go get person from that point of view, like. So, yeah, I think that he's done really, really well in this tournament, and he has been the one that's been probably the most consistent going through from start to finish. Like as you say, Harry Kane's come on a bit there. I think that Phillips is probably over the tournament has been pushing him, but I'll tell you what, as well as Sterling down, you have to give Southgate a lot of credit for bringing back Maguire. A lot of people weren't calling for that. Was he going to be fit in that? Because I'll tell you what, he's come in and has been outstanding. Fitness-wise, solid and everything, So some great standout performances from England, but for me, yeah, Sterling the one. Sterling is the one.
He has been the one. But I'm going to pick another player and I'm going to ask you after. I asked this question a couple of days ago to a few of my mates. Who's been the surprise player for you this tournament? And a lot of people picked Calvin Phillips, and I didn't because, as I told you, I was told about Calvin Phillips a couple of seasons ago. So I started watching him at Leeds. So nothing he's done has surprised me. But the player next to him has. because I was never a huge fan of him. I used to think he was overhyped. West Ham can be quite deluded, their fans, can't they? Declan Rice has been immense, mate. Absolutely immense. And I never quite understood it. I thought it was a little bit, West Ham thinking they got the next sort of best thing. I think he's been superb. And I thought he was one of our better players. And then he obviously got subbed. And I thought that was maybe a little bit harsh. But I thought he was outstanding again and has been all tournament. What do you make of this lad?
This is a surprise. It's going to surprise you because I'm sitting there with my mate who works for me, West Ham Paul, and he thinks that he'd be dropped for this game because he goes, he's not playing as well as what he thinks he can.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and I said, really? I said, no way is he going to be dropped. You know what I mean? I think that he does exactly what's on the tin, and you don't actually appreciate what he does. Now, a lot of people say there are times when England lose the ball and he quickly recovers it, plays it back to the goal to whoever, and no one sees it then. They just see us on another attack, but he's breaking up a lot of play and doing really, really well. So,
I think he's been brilliant. I really do.
He's never going to. He's one of those players that's not going to stand out and be. I tell you what, he'll always be a coach's favourite. A manager will look at him and go, he's my first one. So I think fans would look at it and go, well, he's not one. A little bit like Gilberto was at Arsenal, a little bit underrated. So if Declan Rice didn't play a game, not so much for England because you've got Jordan Henderson there, but say like even if you leave him out West Ham, I bet West Ham fans would go, oh, we missed him today. And I'll tell you what, I reckon after this tournament there'll be a few teams going for him. Because, he'll go in there and do a job and he just does what's on the tin. And I think sometimes in football you need that and it doesn't get appreciated, So I think that he'll be, I'm sure he's a certain start today, do you know what I mean? But my mate Paul reckons that he might be left out today. Wow. I don't see it.
If you could sign one, Lee, for Arsenal, Phillips or Rice, who'd you go for?
Rice.
Why? Because he's 22, he's younger.
No, I just think that we need someone that just sits in front of the midfield, sits in front of the back four and dictates play and stops and breaks up play. We haven't got that yet, unless we're going to go for Partey, and to do that role, or is he going to be the box-to-box player? But we're looking for somebody like that, We're prepared to, or most Arsenal fans are prepared to pay 40 million for Suma. Rice does probably the same sort of thing. But with Rice, you're looking at him being English, 80 million. So, that's the difference. It would be very interesting to see how much he would actually go for, or be touted for, So
I fancy Chelsea. I fancy Chelsea to go.
Yeah,
for
Chelsea. He was at Chelsea as a kid.
Yeah,
so,
I think him and Mason Mount are best mates, and they were.
Whether we'd want to go back there because of that, I don't know. So that's a question for him, And I think if he was a West, I think West Ham fans do like him. And it's funny how I was talking to this about Paul that they accept it more if you went to Manchester City and Man United.
Oh, really?
As fans, you know what I mean? And I think it's like even with Harry Kane, isn't it? The Spurs fans would accept him going to Manchester United and Manchester City, not so much Chelsea. So, I don't know. Declan Rice might think, well, I want to keep him with the West Ham fans because a move up north may be the answer. I don't know.
Well, before we move on to tonight's sort of options that Gareth Southgate's got, the last player I want to bring up is this lad that Jack Sharp has mentioned. I thought he'd give away a ridiculous foul for the free kick. Just no need to do it at all, if I'm honest with you. And I'm going to say this now. I thought that Jordan Pickford's standing point in goal was poor. You can't trust your ball that much. I mean, listen, take nothing away from the free kick. It was outstanding. And that Damsgaard is a very good player, by the way. And I think he'll go somewhere. But as much as the free kick was class, if Jordan Pickford is standing one step to the right, he saves that. I thought the standing position was a little bit too far, in my opinion. I'm not a goalkeeping expert or goalkeeping coach, but I looked at that a few times and I thought, wow, top free kick. But goalkeeper should do a little bit better for me. Some people disagreed and said, no stopping it. No keeper in the world would have stopped it. It was outstanding. And I don't take anything away from the free kick. What was your opinion of that, mate?
Listen, Jordan Pickford's had a good tournament, a very, very good tournament. He was all over the place in that game.
He was, wasn't
All over the place, and that is a bit of a worry, but he's made good saves in important games. A couple of saves against Germany remind me. Yeah, he should have done better with a free kick. I mean, it was a great free kick, but it was straight down the middle.
he? Yeah, I know. I thought it was
down the middle, and you'd expect your goalkeeper to save those sort of ones. But it was a good free kick. But ultimately, he should have saved it. His kicking was very, very erratic on the day, and if he's going to be erratic like that then can sort of make the defence a little bit nervous, and then you've got the Italians. The difference between Italy and Denmark is that they defend like Denmark, but they have got that little bit more quality in their forward areas. So if he's going to be starting flapping and coming out and doing things like that, they've got people that can put the ball in the back of the net from that. A couple of times he kicked the ball straight to a Denmark player, and they haven't got that ability to just smash it in, So it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what happens there. Listen, I think with Shaw, I'll be honest with you. If the first game of the season of this tournament you'd have picked Chilwell, I don't think no one would have argued with that. I think Luke Shaw and and even in the first game they played Trippier out there, didn't they?
Yeah.
So, if I was Chilwell, I'd be very, very upset what's gone on this tournament. You know what I mean? Because he could have actually played in that first game instead of Trippier. I don't really know what Gareth Southgate was thinking here when he done that. But ultimately, Luke Shaw got the gig, and he took it, Dan. And sometimes along the line, that's all you need. You just need that opportunity, and you took it. Now, a little bit like. And people are mentioning it, I know we should mention it about Argentina and Martinez. Now, Martinez took his chance last season, got given to him, and it was took away from him. Now, it's like saying to Luke Shaw, as well as he's playing, come next season, we're playing Chilwell when you've earned the right to play. He's had his opportunity, he's waited for it, and he's took it. And at this moment in time, you wouldn't bring in Chilwell now for Luke Shaw, no way, because Luke Shaw's in the performances, and you have to give him credit for that. And that, listen, and I'll be really honest with you on this. If he'd have played Chilwell would have done exactly the same job as Luke Shaw. I don't think there's nothing between them. It's just that he's got the gig and he's took it, Dan, and that's it.
He has, and he's been class. He has been class. I've been really impressed. I think he got completely annihilated by Jose Mourinho. And he's at Southampton. I thought, this kid looks like the next left back. He looks really, really decent. And then he went to Man United and started well. And then Mourinho came and just totally destroyed not just his confidence, but him as a footballer, I think. And because he was only like 23 or 24 at the time, when Mourinho had gone, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as much as I'm not a huge fan as him, he looks to be a better man management with players like Shaw, because Mourinho destroys dressing rooms. We know this. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer might not be the best manager in tactically, but actually he looks like a good man management. And I think what he's done is he's put his arm around Shaw and said, look, you're the left back at the club. You're the one I'm going with. I believe in you. Show me what you can do again. Let's start building up your career. And I think he's done that. It helps that he's next to Maguire. Obviously, Stones and Walker play together as well as Man City. I think that's definitely helped our defence. So I'm a big fan of the lad, and I think he deserves to be given the credit that he is getting, because I know it was a silly foul. I didn't understand what he was doing to give the ball away for that. But actually, he's had a very good tournament, really good delivery. His delivery is fantastic. So I think he deserves the credit, to be honest with you. Let's move on to tonight to see what options he's got, mate. I'm going to share my screen because I've put together what I think the team will be again. I don't think he's going to change much, Lee, if I'm honest with you. There's only a couple of options that I think he may go with that he could look at doing. Now, I'm in a situation where I think this was the team that I think he's going to go with. Pickford in goal, Walker and Shaw, Stones and Maguire at the back at centre-back, Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips again with Mason Mount, who seems to be his favourite in that kind of number 10 position. I think he's going to go with Sterling and Saka either side of Kane again, for the pure fact that what Kane was doing was dropping kind of deeper to allow these two to come forward. And that was working. That was working for me. Saka, I think, had a fairly quiet game in parts, but still managed to set up the goal. The first goal, sorry. The only other thing I can see him doing is, of course, bringing in Grealish instead of Saka, and maybe switching Sterling over to the right here and giving Grealish that left-hand side, which he seems to like. Felt a bit sorry for Jack Grealish, obviously, coming on and then coming off again. I'll ask you about that in a minute. And of course, the other thing that he could do, Lee, is which he did against Germany, is go with three at the back. So Trippier comes in, and then Walker comes in as a third kind of centre back. What do you make of this team, mate? Do you think that he's going to go four at the back, three at the back, and do you think Saka or Grealish are going to get the nod, mate?
Same team as the semi-final.
Okay.
Saka will play it 100%. I don't think it. As you said, he's not going to change. He's not going to change it up too much. And why should he? Why would you change that team? He's just gone and won a semi-final against a resilient side. If you was to change anything, you'd probably look at maybe I would. The only thing that he would do, and he's not going to do it, and he's changed one of those holding midfield players for put Mount back in there and play Grealish as an attacking player to sort of go in. But he'll do that if we're losing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But other than that, he won't do that. Grealish, listen, as I just said earlier on, you know what I mean? That I think that if he has to count himself very, very unlucky that he's not part of this. Because for me, I put him in the number 10 shirt in place of Mason Mount in that position, and I would play Mason Mount as one of the two. But the two holding players have been fantastic. So really, Jack Grealish has probably not getting in because of Harry Kane and the role that he plays, the role of, and the two holding midfield players. You know, have been he's going there, and if you're going to play two holding midfield players, you've got to sacrifice a talent. And I think that Mason Mount gets it because of his work rate and defensive sort of side of the game more so than Grealish. And I think that's just, you know, Jack Grealish will get some sort of part on it. I think that at the end of the day, he played really, really well on the game against Germany. He was fantastic when he came on. He changed that game, and I thought even in the game against Denmark, you just think that defence is tiring, and that Italian team are old. You know,
yeah.
You know, just as they start tiring, you're going to be bringing on the likes of Grealish, Rashford. You know that these substitutions could be key. You know. And I think that's why I think he trusts Saka. Saka is a player that gets the ball, can hold the ball, play it, beat players, get the team going 20, 30 yards up the field. And I think that's very important, which people overlook. People turn around and say, "Oh, Saka didn't have a great game and wasn't like this and wasn't that like," you know, created the goal. When Harry Kane does nothing and scores, everybody goes, "Oh, Harry Kane scored." But he scored, Harry Kane. That's what he's on the job to do. Well, Saka's on there to create chances and goals. He done it. So he done his job. You know, so I think that, you know, he will start. Sancho's another one that Jordan Sancho done okay in the game where he come on, like, but only okay. Weren't absolutely magnificent. He's another one that could come on when we're tiring.
Yeah.
So when it's time, legs, and do something. So, and don't forget, you've got 4 or 5 substitutions in this as well. Like, you know what I mean? So all these guys could get and have an important time. So, and that's where I think England will win it, Dan, because I think that when they tire, we've got so many talented players to bring on that we've got so many options. And, you know, and I just think with Saka, I think that, and I'm not being biased when I say this, I think he's just got a little bit more to his game than just running. I think he can hold the ball up. He can take players on. He can do it from one side to the other, as he proved in the game when he got the goal. Was it create the goal against Germany, or against the Czech Republic, when he went round a couple of players and put the cross in. You know, so for me, you know, it's the same team. Why would you change it? Why, you know?
Yeah.
You know, this is the finish, is what you're going to have to say. It's like, you know, Gareth Southgate's not going to come into the big game today, surely, and play a false 9 and change things around like certain other managers have done that I know. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's going to go with what he's got, and in the big game, you're going to go with what's getting you there, and that's why I don't think there'll be any changes from that side.
I mean, there's some good comments about Saka, Sancho. So it just shows some of the options we have got, Lee.
Yeah,
Sancho more talented, debatable, but Saka has the work rate. That's definitely right. Saka does have the work rate, and I think that's why he's trusted him, Lee. I know he's only 19, but the kid ain't let him down. And it's like Pickford. You go back to Pickford, and I always look shaky, but he ain't really let Southgate down, has he? And that's why Southgate keeps him as number
nah,
one. So I understand why he's selecting these players. I know people get frustrated that they don't see Grealish and Sancho that they'd like, but so far I've been critical of the manager. I don't mind holding my hands up over the years, but actually I think this tournament he deserves a hell of a lot of credit, Gareth Southgate, because he's picked the team that he thinks is going to win the games. And when it's not looked so good, and we've got into the later stages of the game, he's changed it, and the subs have actually done their jobs. So I think
exactly.
he
The
deserves
whole
credit.
system's work, Dan. The whole system's work from substitutes and whatever. Now, when people turn around, like I was speaking to a couple of people yesterday, like going, oh, I'm surprised that Saka's playing and all that. Like, I didn't realise he was that good. And that was from a couple of Spurs fans that were saying that. And I turned around and said, well, I've been watching him all season for the last year and all that. I'm telling you, he's good. You know what I mean? And I think that we're not surprised at how well he's doing and whatever, because we know he's a good player. We've seen him doing it for. This is a kid, by the way, 19 years of age, that's took a big club like Arsenal and is the best player in the Arsenal side. You might that maybe not as a great praise when you look at some of the crap we've got, but ultimately that at 19 years of age, he's took that on, and he's been doing that for us all season. So it's not a surprise at me that he's in the side and whatever. We actually said that he would get game time, like.
Well, do you know what you did? I didn't think Saka would play that much this tournament. I thought he'd be behind the likes of Grealish and Sancho, but you said that you thought he would, and he has done. Now I'm going to bring up something because you've just said something which is so important, and it gets me thinking. And I'm sure people in the chat that are Arsenal fans will agree with this. And I don't want to talk about Arsenal today because obviously it's all about England, but I do just want to mention this. I don't know, Lee, any fan that is not an Arsenal fan that has said, I could see why Gareth Southgate's almost Saka. He's been outstanding all season for Arsenal. Not one. Everybody's surprised. God, he looks good. God, he looks all right, doesn't he? That's Saka. What does that tell you? Nobody watches Arsenal anymore, mate, because we've been poor. Nobody watches a poor, boring side. So that's why everybody is so shocked to how good Saka is, because they've not watched Arsenal under Arteta, because he's boring to watch. We're losing to Burnley 1-0. We're losing 1-0. We're winning 1-0. We're losing 1-0 again. Everyone's going, I'm not watching Arsenal. They're boring. I'll watch this team. I'll watch Leeds, or I'll watch an exciting team. It just proves that nobody watches Arsenal anymore, because I look at the situation and I've got when England, listen, I love England. Yeah, I'm patriotic. I'm more Arsenal than England, but I absolutely love England as well. It's very close for me. I speak to so many fans, football fans from all different, who support all different oppositions, Lee, right? And all of them are saying, God, that Saka's pretty good for you, isn't he? He's pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, did you not realise how good he was? They're like, nah, I didn't really watch it all season. He's absolutely brilliant, isn't he? And that's sad, because everyone used to see Arsenal coming through going, oh, that lad looks good for you. That Jack Wilshere, he looks bloody good. God, says Fabregas is absolutely brilliant for Arsenal. Don't say that about Saka. They're all shocked. They're all absolutely stunned at how good he is, Lee. What is this all about?
Well, I don't know if people ain't watching it. So, listen, a lot of people who didn't watch a lot of football last year, or watching it without watching it, if you know what I mean, with no fans and everything. They're like, people turn around to me and say how good Greenwood is. Well, I don't really. Is he? I don't really watch that man. To be honest, last season, Dan, and I'm going to be really honest, I only watched Arsenal games. Any other teams, they didn't really interest me that much, because it was like not great with the fans and all that, So I didn't really. So maybe a lot of people have felt like that, not watching games because of it, especially you would watch one of the big games, of course, but if Arsenal were playing Burnley, if Liverpool were playing Burnley, I probably didn't watch it then, you know what I mean? So I think there's a little bit of in that, but ultimately, there is a little bit of that, which is disappointing. There is that surprise package with him because, as you say, people just don't realise for whatever reason that he's not that he's better than what everybody thinks that he is. 19 years of age, it's incredible. But as I say, I probably a lot of fans were watching games that were the big games, and sometimes in the big games maybe he weren't playing or whatever. I don't know, Dan. I really don't know. But I'm just saying it from my point of view. I didn't really watch other teams that much last season because I just felt it was a little bit dead, the games, you know what I mean, with no fans. But listen, with the fans getting back, and I've seen some atmospheres now, and it's different, isn't it? Football's different with fans.
Do you know what? This has been the best Euros for me for that reason alone, because I'm seeing football get back to what I think is normal, which is fans in the ground. It's been great every game. It's not just because England are doing well. I actually think there's been a lot of good games, actually. But I've been a huge fan of it. I really have. I think it's been a great tournament. Let me just get a prediction for this evening from you, Lee, before we start to wrap up and talk about a couple of other things before we wrap up completely. What do you think the score is going to be tonight? Are England going to be winning, and is it coming home?
Yeah, 1-0 to England.
Oh, 1-0 to England again. I think Italy are going to score. And I think that we are going to nick it again in extra time. And I'm going to go 2-1 England in extra time. I think that we've got the spirit. I do. I think Italy are very organised. Unbelievable defending with Chiellini, Bonucci. Obviously, they've got a midfield, which is superb. Verratti, by the way, is one of my favourite players. I absolutely think he's just unreal. So they have got players that can hurt us in midfield and up top, Immobile, Insigne. But I actually do believe that we're going to nick it again in extra time. I think it's going to be similar performance that we've seen throughout the tournament from England. Very organised, very solid. And I think that we will get our players just have enough for them. And, we spoke to Harry Simi yesterday, and he made up a great point. And he said, I think the reason England are favourites for him are because of their bench. And we got players that can hurt them. And I thought it was a great point. I really did. I thought it was a great point. So come on, England. It's coming home. Let's keep the faith. Be optimistic. And let's hope that we nick it. Before we do wrap up, I've got a couple of questions I want to ask you, Lee. First of all, it's Wimbledon final today. We saw the women's yesterday of the final. I didn't actually see the game because I was actually out. But today, Djokovic, is he the man? Is he going to win or lose? Is it obvious that he's going to win?
Yeah, unfortunately for the Italians, they're going to lose twice in the finals. Like, you know what I mean? Like, first time they've had a Wimbledon finalist, and so they're going to lose in the afternoon, and they're going to lose in the evening because Djokovic is just too damn good, too good.
He is too good, mate, and I'm totally with you.
And the thing is, at the moment, the women's side of the game is better because you don't know who's going to win. The final yesterday was fantastic, Barty coming through in the end. But there was a stage of that game that, it went 1-1 and you think, oh, she's not going to win this. And then she showed her class and come back again. But it was a fantastic final, some great tennis. But you just don't know who's going to win the women's. You could there's 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even 10 players that can go now. And what I like about the women's seed is that the top seed, all of a sudden they get knocked out here and there. It's the men's scene is so predictable, and I don't mean this horribly. I was having a chat about it the other day. When you got a 39-year-old man getting to the quarterfinals and semi-finals of major tournaments, that tells you that the men's game isn't as strong as it should be. Now, that's nothing against Roger Federer because I can tell you this man was a machine. But he's 39 years of age.
He is the best ever, mate.
It's incredible. But I'm telling you, a guy 39 years of age shouldn't be getting that deep into major tournaments. And let's face it, going back years ago when you had Agassi, Lendl, Becker, McEnroe, did I mention Sampras? You've got all of those guys, Federer, a 39-year-old Federer wouldn't have got to quarterfinals and semi-finals of major tournaments. So the men's game, they need to pick it up a little bit. Went to Wimbledon and watched Mendiev play, and he was in second gear beating somebody, and then the next day went out against somebody decent, Bosch. So the level has got to improve in the men's game as far as I'm concerned.
I'm going to ask you a question to wrap this up nicely, right? Because I heard it live when I was watching, I think it was Federer the other week. If you could pick a tennis final from any era, so you can pick two players. So you can pick, for example, Federer versus Sampras, or Bjork versus Nadal, or something like that. Who would you go for? Who would you like to have seen play each other that didn't in a final?
Oh, that's a
tough one, isn't it?
tough one. Like, you know what I mean? Look, you know, Agassi was a big favourite of mine. Lendl was a big favourite of mine. I think you'd have to go with the best two players in the eras of me growing up. 5 times Wimbledon champion Bjorn Borg versus Federer.
Has to be, doesn't it?
I think that would have to be them two. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, you know, and it's really funny when you're watching tennis. There was a time, you know, when McEnroe beat Borg, I was delighted because McEnroe Borg kept winning it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then you know he went out of it. Then McEnroe started winning it, and you know I love John McEnroe, but you thought, oh, I want someone else to win it. And then like Federer was won it so many times, and you think, oh right, you know, it's fantastic when Murray beat him, and you want that. But now I'd love Federer to win it again. Like, you know, I mean, I'm desperate for him to win it, but you know, well, it's just funny how sport is.
It is funny because I normally take that attitude. Oh, I don't want him to win it. He always wins it. I never did with Federer. I wanted him to win it every single time because I loved him. He was the best. He's just the best ever for me. Watching him was just outstanding. I always have respect for people who make sport look easy, and he makes that sport look like a breeze. He never sweats. He just sits there. He's just effortless, mate. And I just think, how can you be that good? And that's why I've always been like that with Lewis Hamilton as well. A lot of people hate Lewis Hamilton, and I think, you know, I always want him to win because I think he's exceptional at what he does. And I've always been like that. And I'm normally like you know, I thought, oh, he's bloody won it 6 times in a row. Let someone else have a chance. I've never been like that with Federer or Lewis Hamilton. It's weird.
It's a great point you make there about it, like Federer and sweating and all that. I remember, but Bjorn Borg was like that. You know, it would be, you know, I don't know why, but it seems when you was a kid, the summers were hotter and whatever, like, do you know what I mean? And Borg would be sweating. And I remember he played a fella called Roscoe Tanner. You won't remember him, but he was a left-handed American with the fastest serve in the game at that time. And it went to 5 sets, and he'd had to change his shirt every other game, you know what I mean? Because he was dripping and everything. Just come out with his ice cool thing, you know what I mean? It was unbelievable. And Federer is very much the same, you know what I mean? And as you say, like you get these people come along every now and then. You know, Hamilton, as you can say, they're like Ronnie O'Sullivan at snooker. They're all. There's always just been that class above, and I think that Federer has just been an absolute class above. And you know, give him credit. You know, at 39, still going deep into tournaments is incredible. And then you've got Nadal, I think, is 36 now, doing it. You know, can't do it as much, but you know, Djokovic can and. Do you know what? I would put Federer, Nadal, Djokovic in that order, but Djokovic is going to win more titles than all of them. So you'd have to put Djokovic in as the best, but you wouldn't actually say it because he hasn't got that, I don't know, a bit of a game against him. You know, he's more of his game's more complete. It's a more...
Yeah.
Do you know
I know
what I mean?
exactly what you mean. I really like him as well, actually. I like Novak Djokovic a lot, and I think he's great.
He's a great player.
I'd always pick Federer ahead of him.
Yeah.
Wesley James said Sampras versus Federer. Believe it or not, that happened when Federer was about 21. He first got seen and he had long hair. I thought, who the hell is... Yeah, I thought, who the hell is this lad? He looks good. He's just beaten Sampras, who was at the time one of the best players ever. As another great tennis player.
Pete Sampras. I never liked Pete Sampras.
Never did I. Nah, but he's bloody good though, wasn't he?
Is that bloody serve of his, you know what I mean? Take that serve away from him and people will turn around and go, well, serving is part of the game, and it is. But he had this unbelievable serve, you know what I mean? And I'll tell you what, if it weren't for him, Andre Agassi would have won a load more titles. That's why I don't like him. So up yours, Pete.
Yeah, I liked. It was a little bit before my time. I liked Agassi and Sampras.
If Agassi, I'll tell you this now. If Agassi had Pete Sampras' serve, he would have been the best player ever. The week about Agassi was his serve.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought he was class, to be honest with you. I still think the best final I ever saw was Goran Ivanisevic. That was absolutely class when he came in 2002. Absolutely loved that. His serve was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I saw him the other day. He's looking a lot older now. But,
great. That was great final as well. Like, you know, so,
he was the wild card as well, wasn't he? Unbelievable.
Yeah,
really.
come in and you know, had a little bit of luck because if you remember right, I was playing Tim Henman, and it got rained, and Tim Henman would have beaten him in the day before, but because the rain come, it gave him a break and back and won. And, you know, these are things have happened before. There was a time when Lendl was all over Boris Becker. I remember it, winning it comfortably. He was going to go on and become champion. Rain came down. Becker had a break. Becker come back and won it, you know. So nowadays they don't have that with the roof, you know. So it makes it a little bit more interesting, you know. So the dynamics of Wimbledon have changed a little bit because of that, like, you know. So
yeah, 100%. No, it has been good. I love Wimbledon, like you. I'm a big fan. I love sport, to be honest with you. Any sport I'll talk about and watch, to be honest with you, and give the time of day. Just before we do wrap up, mates, we are going to. I've got to get your opinion on a couple of things. Arsenal have finally signed somebody. Nuno Tavares, left back. From the reports we're hearing, highly rated 21-year-old left back from Benfica, £8 million with add-ons. Lokonga from Anderlecht looks to be on his way, according to Fabrizio Romano as well. Centre midfielder, like a Paul Pogba type player, 21 years old, highly rated from Belgium. And Ben White, they believe, is going to be done after the Euros. So we hope that will be announced, or both of them will be announced in the coming days. Lee, we're finally starting to see some movement. We've been patient, as you said. What's your opinion on these lads coming in, mate?
Nothing. Don't change nothing. We'll still be 8th for next season. 8th or 10th. With those players. Nothing will change.
Why is that?
We need another midfield player. A proper player, you know what I mean? Someone that's proven. Not coming from Belgium league that's got potential. So realistically, we're replacing Guendouzi with him. You know, so we haven't still got the midfield player that we need. We've still not got
we basically replaced Guendouzi and Kolasinac, haven't we, with Tavares and Lokonga?
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, so we're still not nowhere near of improving the side whatsoever. If Saka goes, we've got which will happen when then we'll get another midfield player in. But look, listen, good signings. But nothing that excites me. We're still going to be 8th or 9th or 10th until we get the proper midfield player, the proper holding midfield player, the proper number 10, if you like, the more creative midfield player that we need. And I still think that that two there will not still be enough. But we'll have to wait and see. But you know, we've still got plenty of time, so we'll see what happens. But we need to start, as someone just said in the chat there, we need to start buying players now, that are going to be starting, not backing up. But you've got to start somewhere, and you know, we're looking to get players. You know, Ben White will start. You know what I mean? So like Ben White, Gabriel isn't a bad central defensive partnership, if I'll be honest. But at the moment, we still we need 3 or 4. Well, I think 3 players that you're going to say, right, yeah, they're starting. The 2 players we've just signed now, as you quite rightly said, are backup players.
Well, here's my opinion on it. This is why I'm a little bit more positive than some. Tavares is an upgrade on Kolasinac because I'm an upgrade on Kolasinac. Trust me, the guy is dog awful. When I look at the situation with Lokonga, I believe that is an upgrade on El Neni, Torreira, Guendouzi, because they're highly rated. I like Guendouzi, I do, but obviously there's an attitude problem there and he's not going to be a part of it. So I see that as an upgrade. And Ben White is definitely an upgrade on Rob Holding. So I've seen enough to know in the Premier League this season that he's better than Rob Holding. So that's why I'm okay with these 3 signings. However, I agree 100% that we need to be playing players for this first 11. Yes, we need squad players. Of course we do. We need a backup left back for Tierney. We need a centre half that's going to be an upgrade on Holding. We need a Lokonga who's going to replace Torreira. But we need a Granit Xhaka replacement that's going to be in the Basuma mould. We need a number 10 that's going to be in the Maddison role. We need another midfielder that's going to be a Fabregas like Houssam Aouar. We're all linked with all these, but we need to try and get them over the line, Lee. We're still linked with right backs. We're still linked with goalkeepers. We're still linked with wingers and strikers. But until I see them in an Arsenal shirt, I'm not getting excited. And we have started pre-season training, Lee.
Yeah, but be patient, Dan. Be patient. That's all I'm telling you, is to be patient. Right?
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Lionel Messi has been patient. He's finally won a trophy. And he's finally won a trophy. With a very, very good goalkeeper.
Yeah, where's he from?
I think he plays for Aston Villa. Very, very good goalkeeper.
Yeah, he looks like
it would be nice to have an international goalkeeper that wins things.
It would be nice.
We've got an international goalkeeper, never plays.
Sits on the bench.
sits
Yeah.
on the bench. But
Trust
wouldn't it
the
be lovely to
process,
have
Lee.
someone like? Would it be lovely to have someone like Martinez on your books?
Mm.
Wow.
Trust
If
the
only. If
process,
only.
Lee.
But be
Trust the
patient.
process.
Be patient.
Be patient. Trust the process, and we'll all be excited, Arsenal fans, come August the 31st when we got Joe Allen and Chris Smalling in our team. Mate, been a pleasure as always, Lee. Really enjoyed that actually, mate. Doing a bit of
Yeah, all
speed
right.
run up at
I'm
the end
going
as
back to
well.
bed now, but it was very good.
Yeah, I
Worth
bet
getting
you
up
are,
for.
mate.
That was worth getting up for.
Guys, thanks for joining us. Again, loads of you in the chat. Over 65 to 75 you at one stage. It is getting there, Lee. It's good to see
Yeah,
people coming back, which is the
yeah,
main
yeah.
thing.
Thanks for coming back. Thanks for watching. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you all so much. Please hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, but I hope that you have. We will be back to talk about, hopefully, it coming home and England winning the Euro Championships. But until then, we will see you next time, guys.